Hey everyone, it's Carissa Wiley at sprinkledwithglitter.com. Thanks for joining me today. Today I have a couple of cards to share with you featuring some brand new products from Pinkfresh Studio that I think you're going to love. And I'm going to show you how to do FoilPress with the Gemini Junior FoilPress platform. Now, these new products from Pinkfresh Studio include not only some brand new hot foil plates, and these are absolutely gorgeous, but coordinating layering stencils. And if that's not enough, it also includes coordinating cling stamps and a die. These are all available separately, and this is not the entirety of the release. This is one set from the release. Now, these hot foil plates are compatible with the Crafter's Companion Gemini FoilPress or the Spellbinder's Glimmer hot foil machine. So the machine that you choose is really going to depend on the die cut machine that you have. Now, I was at Target the other day and I saw this really beautiful color blocked notebook, and it had these three colors. So I ran out and grabbed some lightweight cardstock. This is a textured cardstock, and I am cutting these down into strips that measure 1 9/16 of an inch. I did the math for you. And you thought you would never use math again. I know, but sometimes you just got to do the math, right? My husband's a math teacher, and I think he's so proud of me when I'm in there converting decimals and fractions and that sort of thing to do some card making. So the notebook that inspired these cards actually had this gorgeous color blocked theme, and I thought I would recreate it, and it also had a gold sentiment on the front of it. So I have my 3 strips cut down, and I have some lightweight Neenah Solar White cardstock. It's not lightweight, it's actually 80-pound cardstock. But I tend to use 110-pound cardstock for everything. So this is a lighter weight cardstock, that for me anyway. And I've just covered the entire front portion of this Neenah Solar White cardstock with some tape runner adhesive, and I'm adhering my strips onto this cardstock. Now, these are kind of maybe a 65-pound weight cardstock is what I'd say, and they do have a little bit of texture to them. Sometimes I really like to use a textured cardstock in my card making because that little bit of texture adds a little something to the card. Now, once I have these adhered onto this white panel, I'm going to take them over to my trimmer and trim them down, and I can set those strips aside for a second card project. I have the Pinkfresh Studio diagonal stitched rectangle die here, and I'm keeping that in place on my cardstock using a little bit of purple tape, and I'm going to run that through my Gemini Junior die cut machine to die cut this rectangle. Now, when I pop it out, I have this beautiful panel. It's color blocked and ready to go, and it has some gorgeous diagonal stitching around the edge. So now it's time to bring in my Gemini FoilPress and turn it on. It has a switch on the side and then a button on the top, and I'm using the lowest heat. And you can see there's a red indicator light by that low heat setting. Now, when my FoilPress platform is heated up and ready to use, that indicator light will turn green, so I know it's ready. And it also has an audible beep to it. So it is a really great machine in that it really lets you know when you're ready to go. Now, I am using some of the Gemini Papercraft foil for this project today in the gold, and I've just used my paper trimmer to trim that down, and I'm sorry my camera went out of focus here just a little bit, but I have my rectangle there, I have the foil with the pretty side up, and then on top of that, I have the hot foil plate with the design faced towards the foil. Now, I'm going to take all of this and flip it upside down to where the back side of that hot foil plate is touching the platform, because that is the area that you really want to warm up. Now I'm going to set my timer for about 10 to 15 seconds here. I'm going to cover it with the top plate that comes with the FoilPress machine. And once my timer has run out, this will beep, and I'm going to run this through my Gemini Junior. Now, I am using the Gemini FoilPress today because it is compatible with the Gemini Junior. If you don't have a Gemini Junior, you can use the Spellbinder's Glimmer hot foil machine. That is compatible with the Spellbinder's Platinum 6 machine, as well as a Sizzix Big Shot machine. So just choose your foiling platform based on the die cut machine that you have. Now I used my magnetic tweezers to remove this from the platform because that foil plate can get really hot. And you can see I've removed the foil and I have this beautiful pattern on my cardstock. It is actually pressed into the cardstock. So it is kind of like combining foiling and letterpress in one, and it is absolutely beautiful. And Pinkfresh Studio has the most beautiful, delicate floral designs, and this turned out so lovely. And this was my first try. Now, I decided to use the Joyful Peonies Coordinating Cling Stamp on the background of this card base. And so I am lining up my rectangle there that's foil pressed in the middle of my card base, and I'm laying my stamp on top of it. And the idea is that any of the pattern that kind of bled off the edge of this rectangle will then be completed on the background of this card using the stamp. Now I have removed the black foam mouse pad from my Misty stamping tool, and I have a sticky mat inside of my stamping tool to hold my card base in place. I've inked up my stamp using the Misty Coast ink from Pinkfresh Studio. It's a really light gray ink. And then I've closed the door of my Misty, and I'm using my Debbie stamping tool and pressing this onto the paper. Now this stamping tool just helps you get nice even pressure over the entire area of large stamps like this. And you can see when I open the door of my Misty, I have that beautiful design stamped onto my card front. Now, along with this release, there are some really beautiful, delicate hot foil plate sentiments. And I decided to use the Celebrate sentiment on this card. So I'm going to show you how you can stack this up directly on the platform. I'm going to start out with my hot foil plate with the back side facing the platform because you want the heat to transfer into that foil plate. Then I'm going to place my foil pretty side down onto that hot foil plate, and I'm going to add my cardstock on top of that and finish it off with the plate on top of this. Then I'm going to start my timer for 10 seconds here, and once that timer has run down, I'm going to remove the platform from the base of the foil press, and I'm going to run it through my Gemini Junior. What this is doing, it's using heat and pressure to transfer this foil into the paper or onto the paper. It's kind of pressing it down with a letterpress look, and it's adding the foil just where that design is pressing into the paper. So you can see that the foil has been pressed into the cardstock here. Now this is fun to try on all sorts of surfaces. It's great on watercolor cardstock, letterpress paper, acetate, vellum. It works beautifully. Now keep in mind, the foil that I'm using is a heat transfer foil. It is not the same foil that you use with a toner foiling technique. So things like the mink. This is not the same type of foil. This foil is a little bit different. So keep that in mind. You will need a different type of foil to foil with hot foil plates. Now these sentiments have coordinating dies, and when you die cut these sentiments, they are absolutely gorgeous. They are so delicate, and they have that really fine foil lettering pressed into the paper. I think this is absolutely gorgeous. And what I decided to do to add a little bit of dimension to this sentiment, I die cut a few more of the word celebrate. This is just the coordinating die out of this pale rose cardstock from Basil, and I'm stacking them up using a little bit of liquid glue. Now I'm using the Lawn Fawn glue tube, and I'm just tapping some dots of glue over the surface of one die cut, and then I'm stacking one die cut on top of the other. Now I stacked up 3 of these plain die cuts, and then I added my foil pressed die cut on top of this. So this is a total of 4 thick. This is going to add some real weight and dimension and really bring some attention to this delicate sentiment that's going on the front of my card. And it just does not get better than foiling for me. If you know me at all, I love things that are shiny. I love things that are gold. And so FoilPress has been on my list of favorite techniques for quite some time. And these hot foil plates from Pinkfresh Studio, I will have the entire release linked below, so you'll want to check them out. They are absolutely gorgeous. And I am not even showing the coordinating layering stencils. So if you've seen my videos in the past featuring the Pinkfresh Studio layering stencils and coordinating stamps. These layering stencils work the same way and they coordinate with these foil press patterns. So you can add some beautiful color to these foil pressed images on your card very quickly. Now I heat embossed a supporting sentiment onto a piece of vellum using some gold embossing powder. And I've placed my card front onto the card base using some foam adhesive. And I'm finishing this card off with some of the Pinkfresh Essential Crystals, and they look absolutely beautiful on this color blocked card. And that's my first card for today, but I didn't want to stop there. I was having such a good time. I thought I would show you a couple more ideas featuring these hot foil plates from Pinkfresh Studio. So I have a couple of plates here. One is the Celebrate plate that I just used. I'm placing it with the back side touching my platform and the foil pretty side down facing the design of the hot foil plate. Then I have the Thank You So Much hot foil plate. I'm doing the same thing. The back side of the hot foil plate is touching the platform and the foil is pretty side down towards the design of the hot foil plate. And I have placed some vellum on top of these designs and added my top plate. And I've started my timer. I used a 15-second timer here. And then I will run that through my Gemini Junior. And I have these beautiful foiled images on vellum. And if you love vellum like I do and you love foiling, I mean, this is the way to go. You can see the beautiful images I got here. And I'm going to use the coordinating dies to cut both of these sentiments out. And I love that there are coordinating dies because you get just such a beautiful, delicate, clean look. So I'm holding those dies in place with a little bit of purple tape. I'm adding a metal shim to this cutting sandwich because vellum can sometimes be a little bit trickier to cut. It sometimes needs a metal shim. And so today I just went ahead and added it to my die cutting sandwich. And then I am going to show you the beautiful results that I have. So I have this Thank You So Much sentiment with all those beautiful swirls. And I have that beautiful Celebrate on vellum as well. Now I'm going to take this Celebrate and I'm going to run it through my little Xyron adhesive machine. Don't know what it's exactly called. It's not a machine. It doesn't plug in or anything. But this is going to add adhesive all over the back of this vellum foil pressed sentiment. So in order to transfer the adhesive onto the back of this vellum, I like to go over the area with a bone folder. And I'm going to add a second layer of vellum behind this. This is going to help me kind of hide some adhesive behind the vellum. It's going to make that vellum 2 layers thick, and it's going to make the adhesive not quite so visible when I add it to the back. It also gives a little bit of weight to this vellum so that if it's kind of sticking up like it will be on my card, it's not going to bend and fold as easily. So once I have that adhesive on the back, I'm going to stack it up on top of that second vellum die cut Celebrate word. I'm going to make sure it's all lined up really well. And then I have this ready to go onto my card front. Now I did the same color blocking technique on this card, but I'm using 3 different colors. These are colors from Hero Arts cardstock line. I'm using the Arctic, the Adriatic, and the mustard color. And I added the Joyful Peonies hot foil plate design to this using the hot foil press technique that I just showed you. And I'm going to add that onto a card base, popped up with a little bit of foam adhesive. And I'm going to add this Celebrate sentiment onto this card as well. Now, in this video here, you're seeing me add a piece of Arctic cardstock as a strip behind this sentiment. I didn't like that. So I ended up taking it off and just adding the Celebrate to the card. And that look was much more pleasing to me. So now I have another color blocked rectangle that I've created using the same color scheme. And I have the Thank You So Much hot foil plate. I'm lining that up. I have the foil stacked up and the cardstock. I'm placing that onto my foil press platform, covering it with the top plate, and then I'm going to set my timer for 15 seconds. I find that somewhere between 10 and 15 seconds seems to be the magic number for me. Now, if you're not getting great results, it could be that you need to let your hot foil plate warm up a little bit more, so you need to set your timer for a little bit longer. Or maybe you don't have enough pressure. If you're using a lighter weight cardstock, you may find that adding a cardstock shim to this sandwich may help you get a better foil transfer. Now keep in mind, just like with stamping, there may be times that you don't get a perfect result. You can run this back through. If you feel better running the platform through your Gemini Junior or your die cut machine a couple of times to make sure that it gets transferred, you can do that. You can see I am adding a cardstock shim to this sandwich here, and I'm pressing the Joyful Peonies design onto a piece of vellum. And I didn't really care where this ended up on the vellum because I knew I was going to die cut it. If you wanted to be a little bit more careful about placement, you could. But because these hot foil plates are very solid and you can't really see through them, I would say that the biggest challenge in this technique is not really being able to see where it lands. Now, I have shared like a hinge technique before, but the uneven edges of this Joyful Peonies hot foil plate made it very difficult to create kind of a hinge because there were a lot of pieces that kind of stick out. So I am just getting it into a general area, and I find that if I cut the foil to right about the same size as my rectangle, I can pretty well eyeball where this is going to end up. Now you can see for this final card, I have that vellum Joyful Peonies design. I stacked that up too thick, just like I did with the Celebrate sentiment earlier, to kind of help disguise some of the adhesive behind this vellum and give it a little more weight. And I finished this card off with a heat embossed sentiment from the Happy Birthday Sentiment stamped and coordinating die set from Pinkfresh Studio. Now, I don't have actual photos of the other designs in this video here, but if you want to see more photos of the cards that I created using the other color scheme, I will have those over on my blog at sprinkledwithglitter.com. I will have that linked below, and you will want to head over there because this video and these cards are a part of a blog hop celebrating Pinkfresh Studio's new release with these hot foil plates. You're gonna love it. Over in the blog hop, Pinkfresh Studio is giving away 10 $25 gift certificates, and they are giving away an entire release as well. So you'll want to go over to my blog to check that out. Now, as always, I will have links to the featured supplies used in these projects in the description at YouTube, so you can check there if you're looking for something in particular. And as always, I thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications here on my YouTube channel so you won't miss any of my paper crafting and card making video tutorials here. And if you liked this video, I would love it if you would share it with a friend. Once again, thanks for watching, thanks for stopping by, and until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.